played a lot of music through the years, played in different bands and whatnot, and around Northwest Indiana, and I'm not saying I was ever any good. I'm not real sure I was, but I did have a good time doing it while I did it, and I just thank God people put up with me most times, and had a lot of good memories. And I'd like to share a story with you if I could. It was back in the 1980s, the early 1980s. I used to play with this band called the Still Waters Band, and we played quite a bit. We played a lot of days in a row when I was with them, and we used to have a place we used to play at. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't think the story needs to have any names mentioned in it, but we played at a place 3 nights a week, and it was over in Black Oak, which was part of Gary, Indiana, and it was on the west side of Gary. It was on, if you got off of Burr Street and went down to 25th Avenue, and you turned and went east a little bit by a couple of blocks maybe. Right now there's a big truck stop that sits there, but there used to be an old honky-tonk there, and it was one of our places we played at, and it was 3 nights a week, like I said, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And it was one Wednesday night we were playing there, and there was quite a few people there. And we were up on the stage playing our tunes, and a guy comes stumbling in the door, and he was outside. Somebody shot him in the side, and so he comes stumbling in the door, and he's stumbling around the bar, and he falls down unconscious in between 2 pool tables that were there in this place, and he lays there unconscious. And of course everybody's up in an uproar now, and the girls behind the bar, they're running around. They get on the horn, they call 911, they get the police on the way, and they get the ambulance on the way and all that, you know. So we stopped playing, and we're up on the stage, and we're talking amongst ourselves, and it wasn't a minute or two later, the police come in the door. So a police officer comes up to the stage, and he says, you fellas mind if I use a microphone? He says, I got to make a few announcements here. So sure, we hand him the microphone. He gets on the mic, and he says, hey, I'd like to have your attention, everybody. He says, just sit still. There's maybe some questions I want to ask you. The ambulance is on the way. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay and everything. And he's going on. He says, just hang in there, because we're going to make the rounds and ask you a few questions and whatnot to see what happened here. And he's about ready to hand us the mic back. And he takes the mic back and he sticks it up by his mouth. He says, you know, he says, I sound pretty good on this thing. He says, he turns to us and he says, fellas, you know any blues? So we play some 3-chord blues. We get our guitars and we're playing this 3-chord blues progression. And now we got this police officer. We got a fellow lying unconscious on the floor. We got this police officer with the mic. And he's singing the blues. I can't tell you what song he's singing, but he's on the mic singing the blues, and we're playing, and we got some lead fills going and everything, and that goes on for 3 or 4 minutes. And so while I'm playing, I look down at this fella that's unconscious on the floor, and I'm not trying to degrade him or anything because he was hurt, and I'm not trying to make a funny story out of someone getting hurt, but I think this was curious. So you got a fellow lying unconscious between 2 pool tables, bleeding. The ambulance is on the way, and there's the guys there. They don't even stop playing pool, and they're taking stances over his body to get a pool shot. And if I'm lying, I'm dying, and that's a true story. I'm telling you. Finally, the ambulance gets there. And they get him hooked up, get him on the gurney, and they got him hooked up to the intravenous and the IVs and everything, and they haul him out. And we go on with our night, and there was a little excitement there, you know. So we show up Friday to play there, and so we're up there playing our usual tunes and everything, and one of the fellows in the band says to the audience, he says, he's about ready to do one of his numbers, and says to the audience, he says, hey, y'all should have been here Wednesday night, we had a turkey shoot. And I go, hey, the guy's sitting at the bar. which he was. He already got out of the hospital, got stitched up, and he's back. Well, that's a true story, and if I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm telling you. But yeah, the days of playing in the honky-tonks, I guess, you know, it probably there's many more stories than that one, but thought I'd share that with you.